We only drink based on client request.
I'm not
That's too
stopping them,
common.
obviously.
Yeah, it's just okay. पी लेता हूँ अभी.
If you wish.
थोड़ा सा
ये
मनोहर.
वाला ऑनेस्ट वेडिंग्स में ये जाना था.
हाँ.
अरे नहीं चलो ठीक है.
चलो ठीक है.
Hi everyone, welcome to the second episode of RNF podcast. I'm Anand and today we bring you ground report. So last episode we spoke about what RNF's company values are and how do we function as an organization. But this dives into the lives of everyone when they are on the shoot, which means you're going to get an insight of all our pains and our happiness. Today on the panel we have Ayush, Joshua, Santosh and Dheeraj. So, guys, we've heard the story of, or we've sort of come to know about how RNF principally works, some belief system values that we go by. And in the episodes to come, I think we'll dive into the personalities of some of the people here at RNF. But this episode particularly is about what happens on ground, right? Typically, let's take a case study where an assignment has just been closed. Advances have come in, so Dheeraj is very happy. I am also happy, and now comes the job. How long before the shoot do you guys actually start looking into the shoot?
Once we get a heads up from our creative producer, Dheeraj, that we have been assigned a shoot, the first thing we do is get on call with the client. It's usually called the icebreaker. Start to build up a sense of anticipation for the client as well.
Does the client see a lot of our work? Do they just hire us on the brand value? What's your take on that?
Most of them have already seen our work on Instagram and on social media platforms, and that is why they approach us. But obviously, I think they expect something new and fresh every time. I mean, every couple has their own taste. So we kind of try to nurture that into the mood boards and create every mood board according to the client.
When you say you just got off a call with a couple, their wedding is maybe 6 months down the line, you just had an icebreaker. At this point, what's going on in your head? Do you want to take your time and approach, resurface this maybe closer to the dates? Or are you already, your creative juices are running and you're having 10,000 ideas and you want to bombard them all right away?
So the first idea that always pops up in my head, and probably all of the shooters, is that let's pitch for a couple shoot right before the wedding, because that's the perfect way to get them on board with our creative process right before the wedding. They get to be a little more camera friendly, and we get to experiment few things, because in during the wedding it's mostly documentation, but it's creatively documented. I think you would agree on that.
It's a very good way to bond with the
Yeah,
couple as well.
that's a-
Couple shoots are very
this
intimate in that kind.
phase, and AIB at some point also dropped this sketch on Honest Indian
Honest Indian
Wedding.
weddings.
And they sort of took the whole idea of couple shoot.
Yeah.
I mean, they did ask the bride to climb on the back of the groom, and aap Undertaker, wo Papa Shank ko, and they made this whole sketch. And somewhere the perception of a couple shoot became, oh, it's so cheesy, and who does that? Like, is that your take as well?
Everybody thinks nowadays that pre-wedding is kind of cliche and it's very cheesy. But when it comes to us, I think we try to keep it, like I said, very classic in a way where, we don't do all that cheesy stuff with the couple.
The best part about couple shoot is that we are having them do the best experiences. Like, they're going through a lot of experiences. Like, for example, one of the couple shoot we had last in Thailand, apart from the shoot, they thoroughly enjoyed the company. They thoroughly enjoyed all the locations we've been to. They were themselves. They went to the beach. They dived into the water. They did bamboo rafting. They did ATV and whatnot. So it was like an all-in-all experience, to say, not just a couple shoot. While we were on the shoots, the couple offered us a trip every year, and they said that you guys need to third wheel us in all our trips, be it our honeymoon, be it our post wedding, be it even when our kid is born. Like, we want you guys together to photograph all our moments. And that is when I realized ki being with the couple and doing a couple shoot is way more than just doing the couple shoot itself.
Yeah.
So it's actually a lifelong friendship that we have built, and it's so wholesome.
Just to add to this, recently when we did a couple shoot with Nikita Ayush, it was like going on a trip. 4 friends have gone on a trip. It was not a couple shoot. During the whole 3 days, I think we had those moments where we were shooting as well as we were having fun. It was not a couple shoot, but it was like a vacation for us.
So that's a great foundation from what I understand. And if my number runs correctly, I think we've had these pre and post wedding shoots in close to now 30 countries, right? So it's mind blowing if you sort of think about it at times.
I'd like to measure it, but probably me and you have visited more countries than you and Garima.
Garba is my wife. But I'll dial back one step into the chronology of things. You're closing in the sale. That's your on ground happening at the very start, right? You probably might be at a client's place or they're at our office. If I was to give you $1 every time you hear the word "kuch naya karte hain," how much would you have made?
I would be close to what Elon Musk's net worth is. But yeah, almost every time. Yeah, and I always tell them that Kuch Naya is you, right? You are a new person. You are a new
Wow.
personality. You are a new human, and you are a new story.
Very interesting. Now, this couple shoot just got over, and we are sort of now getting closer to the wedding dates, right? What's the process there? Do you show up? Like, you just take your flight, you show up? Is there some prep work going on happening there?
So let me take this one step again, piche, because uh, I usually after closure, right? There's a lot of times I'm sure you know, because you make that funny comment, okay, hey, you're falling in love with them. So I always land up falling in love with somebody's love story, and sometimes even in a situation, जब close भी नहीं होता, and sometimes it's budget. I always write a message to Anand saying, "Can we reduce this?" But that's what happens to me, and even in this season, there are so many couples I've fallen in love with, and what I try to do is, apart from those normal tick marks of who they are, what they do, what sort of a background, what their story is, I try to put that feel onto them as well, what I feel about them. These are the films they've liked, so inka personality thoda aisa hai. This one's a little shy, that one's a little loud. Even that information, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, sort of helps them give a good start in
Yeah,
the
definitely.
You're about to go on the field now, right? The battlefront awaits, but how are you prepping yourself for the days to come? Say it's a typical destination wedding, maybe 2 or 3 days. At what point are you starting the prep for the shoot? And is there something that you also tell the couple or the family?
So I think a typical preparation for us would look something like getting to brief our entire team what we have learned through the icebreaker call. Post that, there comes the assigning part, where each and every person in the team is been assigned a certain responsibility and role, and then a lot of internal brainstorming ideas are thrown at each other. Then there's a major part where we discuss about gear requirements, because that's absolutely essential. A day before flying, everyone's carrying at least 4 to 5 extra baggage of equipments with them, and
we've forgotten how to travel light.
yeah, we have
Yeah.
totally forgotten.
I mean,
I think now I have this magical superpower after years and years of doing this. You know how Sunny Deol said in that movie, "वो 2.5 kilo ka haath." I can lift any bag and I can find out ये 15 kilo ka bag hai ki nahi.
Very subtle way of saying Anand's gymming these days.
Yeah, but no, not the fact that I can lift a 15 kg bag. Earlier, maybe two hands, now one hand, sure. But the fact that I can just lift a bag without a weighing scale and I know it's 15 kg, because after a point you can just start getting a feeler of what's allowed, and that's Indian Airlines, or most Indian airlines do only allow 15 kg. Just to establish that we are actual professionals. If traveling full time was a hobby, and this goes out to even all the Instagram vloggers who travel for a living. Just a quick survey on how many flights each one of us took in the last 12 months, and a good approximation will do, Dheeraj?
Last year, full year, right?
Yeah, or maybe you can tell us what's the maximum number of flights you've taken in a year, if you've counted in a year.
Probably more than 60.
60.
More than 60 for sure.
Okay. Joshua, is your number the same? More?
It's more or less the same. I started counting once, but
How much
after
is that?
I didn't get to it.
Okay, how
He started
I
counting,
forgot.
he didn't finish counting.
yours would be a lot more though. You all do couple shoots as well.
Yeah.
So definitely all of your
Definitely
numbers would be more than that.
Yeah, I did that calculation for the entire company once, and the average number, by the way, in a busy year is 65, 70.
There you go.
I had a year where I crossed 100 or 105, I think it was. Was a terrible year in terms of, I mean, 105 is insane number of flights. Anything that you ask the couples to do before you show up at the location?
For the couple, it goes two ways. If the couple shoot is happening, if there's a couple shoot and we shoot the couple, we know how comfortable they are with the camera. So we kind of get a gist, and they're also comfortable with us when we show up at the wedding. If the couple shoot is not happening, more than briefing them, we try and capture what they are going through at that moment.
A lot of times couple and family members forget about the portraits and they're so much into the event.
So it's almost like a samosa wala
Yeah,
situation, right?
right.
Like in a small town, if you show up at a samosa wala shop, those who are standing ahead in the queue, they'll get the hot samosas, and those at the back of queue don't get anything. In a wedding, sometimes those who are standing closer to the bride and groom, right? It'd be the makeup artist, it'd be the draper, it'd be whoever. They get all the time, and suddenly you realize you're at the back of the samosa queue.
Usually the show flow has everything that's going on. When the sound check happens, when the guests are gonna enter, when the drinks start, when the entry happens, when the couple comes, everything. But usually when the photo shoot is happening. So we've started, I think ever since I think I joined 2017, 18. We've started putting that on the show flow as well. So we give a call to the event planner, tell them to add an extra column for us and say this is the slot for your photo shoot. Family PDF is very interesting. Headshots of the most recent photos of each member of them, their best friends. So in case they are not around, we can introduce ourselves to their family and say, hey, you know, your XYZ mom or your XYZ chacha, I know you, can I take a picture? And a lot of times I've realized they really like it.
Let's come to day zero, right? You've landed at the location at day zero. What's happening at that point? Are you catching a nap? Are you going out,
I
shooting?
feel it's the most important day because it firstly it gets you accustomed to the climate of that place, because a lot of times we are also shooting in different countries. So we're going from a 30 degrees to a suddenly 8 degree as well, right? So for us to be a little in the zone, after all, it's a creative sort of a feel. So uh, unlike what people assume that if a event is starting at 2 p.m., how about we fly at 11 a.m. in the morning and start shooting? But if you actually put it into perspective, catching 11 a.m., landing at 11 a.m. means you're taking a flight at 9, which means you're reaching at 7, which means you're waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning, right? So your creative team to be shooting at 2 p.m. then doesn't really make sense. So
For the climate, I think when Dheeraj mentioned we shoot from 30 degrees to 8 degrees, that doesn't go well with some people, especially me. So I usually, when you said what's a pro travel tip, always carry warm clothes.
Yeah.
If
Like there's no definitive weather, like for say
Yeah.
it could be winters in some other part of the world, must be
Actually, it
cold.
could be 30 degrees
in
to
the evening,
10 degrees in the same,
The same
day.
day, yeah.
Mumbaikars also, we are pretty prone.
Yeah, our weather range is
Yeah,
quite
it's
small.
small.
pull up a sweater at 25.
Yeah, 20 degrees, we pull out our hoodies,
Yeah.
right? How are you sort of coordinating who goes where and shoots what?
Right before we start with the shooting, like I said earlier also, there are a certain set of responsibilities allotted to everyone. And once we are on the shoot, we always carry our walkies, so that it makes it easier for us to communicate at two different ends.
There is, for most people, this is one of those rare opportunities in their life where sometimes maybe as many as 5, 6, 7, 8 cameras are pointed at them, right? And they're obviously cognizant of the fact that these cameras are pointing at them. And they may get nervous because it can be nerve-wracking, right? It's like a media ambush.
Yeah.
How do you guys make them comfortable?
I think
their
we
friends.
have few people who really have a very good sense of humor. So we just push them forward, and they be like,
The
"Ki
class clowns, yeah.
yeah," and then they're usually like, "Ki ऐसे situations में मैं ही क्यों आगे आता हूँ?" Most of the scenarios. But yeah, I think that really helps because once you crack a joke and then everyone's laughing,
Yeah.
they get into their element because laughter just loses up all the tension.
Yeah.
So we try to play some music. We try to crack jokes and especially mingle up with the friends because they really help us build it up for the couple and for the family members also.
So photographer come DJ come stand-up comic.
I think humor is very important. man.
We have some jokes up our sleeve. Some land जो लैंड करते हैं हम वो शेयर करते हैं सबके साथ कि यार ये गर्ल्स ग्रुप के साथ ये बोलना हंसेंगे and yeah, it also has a test of time, then it becomes old and then we try something else, but we do have our own way of trying to make them comfortable, our own jokes, our own ways of telling them if something is not
So
right.
so tell me something, Joshua. So pretend that I'm a groom or I'm with my bride to be and I'm like super nervous right now. What would you tell me to sort of ease my nerves?
Take the groom on the side and tell him to do something which the bride is not liking sometimes. Like especially when either it's if she's very ticklish,
Yeah.
we tell the groom just go and tickle her on our count.
Any of
Yeah.
that shot, Ronak Anisha, that you guys had done donkey years before, the water one again, the water splash that she just didn't know about. You all,
Oh, yes.
everyone had planned it. So
What kind of cues slash directions do you give to couple to make them feel easy?
I think observation is also the key here. If the bride is constantly telling the groom something in a very specific way, somewhere or the other you try and slide it in your own way. I mean, if she's saying shut up in a very, or don't do this in a very,
Shut up, yeah.
shut up, yeah. So you try and do that the same way.
The thread that needs to be there for all of this to work is a sense of friendship, right? That I'm your friend. I approach you as another friend would. In fact, it's not just once. The first time this happened with me, I felt it was like really odd. But it's happened maybe like 4 or 5 times now where grooms have come up to me and asked me to write a speech that they would deliver on their wedding day. So the first time around, I thought of it as pretty intrusive on my part if I undertake this. Secondly, it would take the originality out of the whole idea of something heartfelt. But it was obviously their way of saying that, hey, listen, I'm right now occupied with so many things. I'm not getting the words for. You seem like you can do a decent job at copywriting. You know me well enough by now. I'm just going to say it out. Just polish the language for me. So I was nothing more than an assistant, writer. You can say like a ghost writer. Brides have come up and said, give me a nice idea for my bridal walk. What do I do? Right? I want to do something more than just walk down the aisle. What do I do? And those ideas have been received, those ideas have been implemented, and you just feel so included as a part of this thing.
What was that one most interesting idea that you have given to a bride or a groom in their respective entries?
So most of my ideas, right, and I apologize to the counterparty. If I gave it to the groom, I apologize to the bride and vice versa, because most of my ideas are inherently evil. So the number of times I have teamed up with the cousins to have that wild haldi. It's going normally and the cousins are very scared of some uncle who's gonna blast off. And I'm like, you know what, I'll distract the uncle. Here's the raw material. I spoke to the chef. He's given tomato puree as well. Or there have been times where I've been part of the Juta Churai, where one side who's more friendly with me, I've sort of helped them figure out how to steal it. I'm thinking I should make some cut out of that. It's high time. I come up with decent ideas, I feel. But yeah, these are all like, I just feel so alive when suddenly you are part of the wedding. And a great litmus test always has been just how many times do people end up calling you by your first name by the last day, right? If on the last day they're bidding you a goodbye and they say, hey, goodbye, Joshua. Come on, like there were 400 people present. He managed to remember your name. So
Yeah,
tell me a little bit about the sleep schedule, because all this sounds super hectic. Every itinerary you want to maximize as a couple, you want to maximize the time that you're there. So things can begin at 8 in the morning and go on till like 4 of the next morning,
morning.
right? How are you managing your sleep?
Does it even exist?
Manage? What is
Manage,
that?
there's
I
no
don't.
manage.
I don't even know.
There, it's just sleeping when you can and not
Wherever you can.
Wherever,
you
actually,
wherever you
wherever.
can, yes.
When and wherever you can.
What do you mean wherever you can? Where all have you slept in the wedding venue?
The
Console.
car, on the console table, uh, at the dinner table,
And that's
behind the stage. There is a video of me below. I'm a small guy, right? So below the console table as well. So all
I
the
think
awkward
that's-
places, but my bed back in the hotel. Yeah,
that's
all of
that's where
them.
you get creative also. I mean, if you're on the console table and you don't want people to see you, just put your head down and then cover yourself with bags. So you,
Like a private
and-
suite
yeah,
It's a
in
quick
the
and
middle
easy
of the
That's
dance
it.
floor,
We are very,
next to the dance floor.
yeah,
We are fun sized.
fun size. Yeah.
Fun size. Oh, that's what we're
So people
calling
don't
us.
notice us. Yeah.
Fantastic. I wanted to discuss a very specific things that we do at weddings, which is same day edit. So
Right.
for everyone watching who's curious what a same day edit is, it's essentially a recap of the entire wedding, the whole video, everything being presented on the last day. So imagine baking a wedding film, like a trailer of a wedding film at the last day, so that everybody before they leave the venue can actually relive the memories of those days. But easier said than done. So we'll hear from the expert. What's the process of a same day edit like? What happens?
So, firstly, I feel it's the most challenging part of my job and the exciting part. Like, usually we took 8 to 10 days to complete a trailer when we doing in office. But in same day, you have to do that in half of the time, like in 3 days. तो उसमें आपको वो स्टोरी भी बनाना है, अप्रोप्रिएट म्यूजिक ढूंढना है, एंड फिर वो प्रेशर वो सब में डील करना है. सो दैट इज़ द मोस्ट चैलेंजिंग पार्ट, बट एट द सेम टाइम आपको बहुत कुछ सीखने मिलता है. बेस्ट पार्ट इज़ जब आप 3 दिन बिना सोए आप एडिट कर रहे हो, मेंटली एग्जॉस्ट हो चुके हैं, बट अब जब फाइनली आप वो चीज़ कपल को दिखाते हो एंड यू सी ऑल द हैप्पी फेसेस, दैट्स द मेन कि आपको ऐसा लगता है कि यू आर डूइंग द राइट जॉब टू, like you are making people happy, like that's the main
I
part.
agree with that.
Yeah.
Is there a science or is this, do you always wing it?
So basically थोड़ा information तो पहले मिल जाता है, like as you know कि हम client call करते हैं, we get the form, तो थोड़ा आइडिया मिल जाता है कि how the couple is, उनको कैसा चाहिए. Then फिर on location हम DOP के साथ sound bites लेने जाते हैं, उससे कपल का स्टोरी आइडिया आ जाता है कि how the couple is, कैसा स्टोरी बन रहा है, कैसा म्यूजिक साथ में जाएगा.
Interesting. And
Yeah.
are there any nerve-wracking moments? Because a wedding runs on a very tight schedule,
Correct.
and you're
correct.
trying to squeeze in something that you said is 10 days of office work into 3 days of
Yeah.
work at a location which is not under your control, right?
Yeah.
Where you'll get electricity, where the data will come to you. What are some of the most nerve-wracking moments in this process?
सो इनिशियल डे तो थोड़ा चिल होता है, लाइक फर्स्ट डे जब आप जस्ट पहुंचे हो, साउंड बाइट्स हो रहा है, थोड़ा रिलैक्स होता है. मेन जब फटता है लाइक द लास्ट डे व्हेन द संगीत इज हैपन, एंड आपको लास्ट डे आपको वो संगीत का सारा फुटेज बिठाना है, पूरा लाइनअप करना है, एंड फिर आपका लास्ट डे शाम को वेडिंग हो रहा है, फिर वो जस्ट स्क्रीनिंग के 3 घंटे पहले आपको वो वेडिंग के फुटेजेस डालकर आपको स्क्रीन भी करना है. तो इसमें कुछ फ़नी स्टोरीज़ भी है. तो एक वेडिंग था व्हिच इज़ हैपन इन मुंबई, तो हमने इनिशियल 2 दिन ऑफ़िस में ही काम किया. तो लास्ट डे यूजुअली होता है कि हम लोकेशन पे जाते हैं क्योंकि फुटेजेस आने का उतना टाइम नहीं रहता है, तो यूजुअली दे शूट, फिर धीरज और सम प्रोडक्शन गाय हेल्प अस विद द फुटेज आता है और लास्ट डे वो फुटेज डाल के आपको फट से स्क्रीन करना होता है. तो व्हेन वी रीच द लोकेशन, कंसोल टेबल था, बट उसके बाजू में लाउड म्यूज़िक भी बज रहा था. तो द ओनली ऑप्शन वी हैव इज़ कि मंडप के नीचे बैठ के एडिट करो. तो गौरव एंड मी लिटरली वी वर्क 4 to 5 hours मंडप के नीचे
Underground.
अंडरग्राउंड, और फिर हमने वो फिल्म स्क्रीन किया.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
I distinctly remember one episode from a same day edit, and this was one of the crucial factors is whether the export will happen
Yes.
without any error.
Yes,
Do you
yes.
remember that episode?
हाँ, जो आप literally लैपटॉप लेकर you are going to the location. वो म्यूजिक याद नहीं आ रहा है, but
You are literally sending prayers
Yes.
to the render gods that please
render हो जाए
इसको-
time पे.
इसको एक बार render कर दो,
Yeah,
because
यार,
if it doesn't get
correct.
rendered, the
The next
re-rendering
event
will
also
take
will
maybe
start.
20 minutes, right? And this is back in the day, right? It used to take that much time, sometimes 30 minutes, right? So your option B is basically you will just show up there empty-handed, right? So there is no
Correct.
option B.
Time
Insane.
management is the main part of
Is
sales.
the key.
कि आप time को कैसे manage कर रहे हो.
और वो भी हमारे हाथ में होता नहीं है
Yes.
लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स, क्योंकि इसको लिटरल पर्सपेक्टिव में डालिए एज एन एग्जांपल
Correct.
इज, अभी समझो संगीत शुरू होना है 8 बजे, ही हैज scheduled his time in a specific way but it has not started till 10:30 और
Correct,
डेटा इसके हाथ में आना था 11 बजे के लिए
Yeah.
एंड आई हैव टू डू दैट यू नो स्कैरी
And also the coordination part
भाई
पूरे team
2
के बीच
घंटा
में.
ज़्यादा सो ले क्योंकि अब शुरू हो रहा है
But आपका
and he has to
sleep cycle इतना change हो
Yeah,
चुका है
then-
कि
हाँ
Yeah, this is
फिर
like
आप-
a soldier on a mission, right? कि
Yes,
totally
yes.
the convoy is running late, right? And now just figure out, like, re-engineer your sleep cycle while you're
Correct.
at your job. Absolutely like being on a battlefront.
Now, when you've mentioned the battlefront, almost feel like one for me because we're constantly on our walkies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything we say, like for example, if I'm calling out any of the teammates, like Joshua come in, Joshua come in, Joshua, it almost sounds like I'm calling out in another.
Joshua comes and shoots.
Yeah.
It's
Joshua-
literally like we're living a real life Counter-Strike video
if we
game.
can't reach that spot we have air support also
Yeah.
Drone.
It's also like if you're with the bride's or the groom's father when he's meeting people, you know, suddenly you get distracted and then he goes somewhere and then on the walkie you're like POTUS on the move. So that also feels like you're working for Secret Service or something, you know.
yeah
Absolutely, yeah. I think on location it's practically a battlefront.
Yeah.
But in a battlefront, I don't know how soldiers have that survival instinct and they manage to take the right decisions even in the worst of physical condition. But help me through what's happening by the wedding day, because I'm assuming now this lack of sleep has accumulated.
Yeah.
Actually, on the most important day
Day.
of the entire festivities, it's not going the other way around. It's actually an uphill climb.
Yeah.
Correct.
How are you sort of functioning on a wedding day? Does the strategy change?
I wanna say
Caffeine,
कि it's mostly caffeine, but yeah. And by the time of the wedding, we are all like drained
क्योंकि आपके पास
completely.
backup भी नहीं
Yeah,
है.
we're
Like,
physically
single person is
completely
doing
drained at
getting
that
ready.
point.
Single person is doing decor.
Right.
What
trained-
happens in a situation where somebody falls ill within the team? As you said, you don't have a backup.
Correct.
You can only carry limited team size. Sometimes even not. You can't build in the redundancy. And the venues can be at different location, right? On the same day. How do you manage that?
We prioritize on what needs our attendance first,
First,
and then
correct.
What can be done later?
Rush to the other venue while you wipe your tears.
yeah, definitely. It's not just tears.
Tears like last day.
but after
Right.
party में attend
हाँ.
after
party
party
is
पहले
like
आता है
full.
Like when
But-
after the vidai happens with the bride, I'm also
अभी मुझे रहना है.
मुझे घर जाना है.
Do you drink on locations?
most of the time we're forced, okay, and
Yeah,
then
most
after
of the
few
time
shots
we're
we don't
forced.
know. Because by the last night, by the after party, the bride and the groom and the family are like, yeah, enough
Yeah.
of your cameras, leave your cameras, and they
Come out with
shove
your
a shot in our mouth,
Yeah,
right?
it's
So,
done.
and that happens a lot. There have been after parties among 45 guests in attendance, 30 guests in attendance, 15 is us, okay? So, 15% of the guest list in the after party has been us.
We only drink based on client request.
Yeah, client.
As the best way to
If the client forces us. Yeah.
Not
That's
stopping
too
them,
common.
obviously.
Yeah.
हाँ.
I'm not shopping. Man. It's just okay.
पी लेता हूँ
If
अभी.
if you wish.
इतना
It would have been a good
थोड़ा
script
सा
for
मनोहार.
AID वाला.
हाँ.
Honest weddings में ये जाना था.
हाँ.
अरे नहीं, चलो ठीक है.
चलो ठीक है.
So, Dheeraj, tell me some of the interesting things that, from a production standpoint, happen on the ground.
On the production side, there's everyone you are coordinating with, and when I mean everyone, literally sabhi log, which is from you're the common point of contact for your team and the clients as well. So that's where you sort of play a lot of tennis, trying to sort of balance both their likes, dislikes, and is it possible and not possible. Then you're coordinating with your cars, you're coordinating with your event team, you're coordinating with your decor team, your light team, your anchor. I'll actually give you an example, and quite interestingly, this is a great photo as well. We were in Mahabaleshwar and it's a COVID wedding, 100 guests, very less, and we wanted to do a beautiful drone shot. So it's at this place called Ramsok, right in the edge of the cliff of sorts, a nice beautiful mandap, 5:30, beautiful sunlight, and everybody were supposed to leave the balloons at a certain time. Uh, in the middle of all this, our drone is ready, the couple is ready, guests are ready. One photographer on our walkie says, I'm trying to climb onto something. Can you please hold for the next 30 seconds? I have no idea who that was at that point of time. So I have to rush to the MC all the way. I ask him, please do some crowd work because this, I will give you the cue. Just do some crowd work. So he helps us out. The 30 seconds become 60 seconds. The photographer gives a cue and I give a cue to the MC. And everybody leave the balloon at the same time. That picture became a fearless photo. So what I'm trying to say is to get a beautiful photo together, uh, it's so many people coming together and everybody is in the same team. So आपको बहुत ज़रूरी है कि आप सबसे बात करें, आपके एमसी से आप पहले ही बात कर लो ताकि he knows you. So you on that moment he's not seeing your face for the first time and has no idea who the hell you are, right? So
Yeah.
you're speaking to your MC, you're speaking to the light guy beforehand, you're speaking to your production and event team, you're speaking to the bride and the groom, the guests know you. So you're there, you're present, and it's very important to sort of be present at that scene.
There was a wedding in Bangalore where it was a same day edit as well. But the best thing that happened on the wedding was, so there was a screening allotted time, and by the time we got our video done, by the time it was checked, by the time Dheeraj had got the video to the field, the sound guy and the screen guy had already vanished. And all we could do was just manage to. His initial idea was to show the couple the video whatsoever, irrespective that we don't have a screen and no sound.
So it
So
was 10
we,
p.m. already.
yeah, it's already 10 p.m. And so
The wedding also had not got over by 10 p.m.
yeah, true, true.
It was supposed to get over at 8. It started at 10.
And he came along with a Marshall speaker and the laptop, saying that worst case scenario, let's play it on the laptop for the couple and the intimate family members. And once we tried to gather the crowd, there were like around 25 people,
Easy.
25 to 30 people. We gathered them around, and so Dheeraj is now playing matching the visuals with the screen that he managed to.
We woke the guy up.
Yeah, we woke
said,
the guy. He
"भाई,
was literally
screen
speaking
लगा
there.
दे." And his reason was कि speaker नहीं है. He said we'll figure the sound. Screen शुरू कर दे. So yeah, we managed. So I did a small recce where he and me pressed the button together.
Together.
Because my laptop is connected to the Bluetooth. So the screen and the music has to play together. So the sound is coming from here, and we sort of cuddled everybody in that corner, and there's a screen playing, and we pressed that button, and we still managed to showcase a same day edit at 2 a.m. in the morning when nothing was loud, and I think it was the most beautiful same day edits we've ever.
I swear.
I mean, the end result is not to, of course, there is a bit of marketing and promotion that's happening for the company. But
byproduct.
I think my eyes have always been on that side where the couple is, right? I
Yeah,
could,
to see
I-
that happy
I-
faces.
yeah, I mean, I've seen the film enough times to not bother about seeing it on a bigger screen, but seeing their face is
Yeah,
priceless.
I think on ground we play multiple roles. I mean, I've seen you so many times lift the bride's veil and help her walk down because nobody else was available.
Yeah, I mean, there is, by the end of it, right? Your on-ground reality is you are everybody and you're nobody. Like you're everybody in the sense you if there is a dirty plate, it's in your frame, or it's not making sense. It's at the mandap and it just looks ugly for the guest. Maybe you're not even shooting it. Pick it up, put it aside because you're part of the wedding.
Yeah.
And you're also nobody because you don't go around and claim a job title.
Yeah.
You're just, you're a guy, you're that guy with the camera who's a little more than just the guy with the camera.
Yeah. You had
Wow.
a story to
This
say,
goes
na?
in my Instagram bio. Credits to Anand.
I think the real on-ground takeaways are these, tokens of happiness,
Happiness.
love,
True,
the
true.
bond that you
Memories.
make, and well, I think now that clearly differentiates us from the soldier's profession, right? We walk away with more friends than they do. So with that, we come to the end of our episode of RNF podcast. This was the on-ground reality. Keep watching the podcast. Join us on our YouTube channel. and see you very soon.
Woo!
What's your motivation behind travel?
Culture and mindset for sure.
तो मैं जहाँ से बिलोंग करता हूँ ना, तो वहाँ से और मुंबई से बाहर निकलता हूँ तो मुझे अलग ही मतलब एक्सपीरियंस मिलता है.
When you travel, you get to learn about music.
As soon as you
Yeah.
land in Thailand, the guy is playing rock and music because their culture is rock.
Yeah.
He was with us for 6-7 days,
Yeah.
and the playlist bangers, absolute bangers. So mine was a very do and die situation kind of story. We were in South Africa, and we end up getting our car stuck in that dirt road.
All-
Happy that we've survived.
All's well when it ends
Nice.
well के बदले तुम्हारा होगा ऐसा either it ends well or we end.
Yeah.